Imagine this. 270 men board 5 ships. They know they are sailing into the unknown. They know many of them will never come home. But there is one man who believes he can do something no human being has ever done in the entire history of mankind. Sail around the entire world. Of those 270 men, only 18 will return. But what they achieved changed the world forever. The first voyage around the world. The man who actually circled the Earth first wasn't even allowed to steer the ship. This is the story you were never properly told. Stay until the end, because I'll show you 4 facts about this expedition that will completely change the way you see it. Before we get into the blood and the gold, we need to understand the why, and it all starts with the world that was absolutely obsessed. The year is 1519. Europe is obsessed with one single thing: spices, pepper, cloves, nutmeg. These small, fragrant plants were worth more than gold, literally. Whoever controlled the route to the Spice Islands controlled the economy of the entire world. Portugal already had control over the eastern route to Asia, around Africa. Spain was blocked. And then, one Portuguese man decides to switch sides. Ferdinand Magellan. Born around 1480 in Portugal, an experienced sailor who had already sailed to Asia, but from the east. His theory was simple, but revolutionary. If we keep sailing west, we will reach the east. Using pure mathematics, he believed there was a passage through South America that would lead him into the Pacific Ocean. Spain's King Charles I bet on him. He funded 5 ships, 270 sailors, and a dream that seemed insane. The prize? A monopoly on any route Magellan discovered, 10 years of exclusive rights, and a title. September 20th, 1519. 5 ships set sail from the Spanish port of Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Trinidad, San Antonio, Concepcion, Victoria, Santiago. Magellan leads from the flagship, but already from the very beginning, things are not what they should be. Spain didn't fully trust him. The king had placed Spanish captains on 4 of the 5 ships, to watch him, to control him, and Magellan knew that, and the crew knew that. This expedition was already starting as a bomb with a burning fuse, and the real explosion wouldn't take long. Patagonia, black rock, ice, wind. The ships anchor at Puerto San Julian at the bottom of South America. March 1520. After almost 6 months at sea, the fleet winters in Patagonia. Food is running low, the sailors are exhausted, and they see no passage. Then, a mutiny explodes. 3 of the 5 Spanish captains seize their ships by force, swords drawn, torches burning. 3 of the 5 Spanish captains stage a rebellion. They take over the ships. They demand to turn back to Spain. Magellan was outnumbered. They had more ships, more men. But he had something they didn't: cold, terrifying resolve. Magellan crushed the mutiny fast and without mercy. 1 captain was killed, another was hanged, a 3rd was left behind in Patagonia. The message was clear: this expedition moves forward, no matter what. October 21st, 1520. Magellan spots something he has been searching for years. A narrow, winding passage between a cliff face and the island of Tierra del Fuego, Land of Fire, as they named it, because they could see the fires of the native people burning on the shores at night. It was a passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific, a gigantic geological wonder, 570 kilometers long, today known as the Strait of Magellan. But it took them 38 days to cross it. 38 days of labyrinthine dark channels, shallow waters, and violent winds. And then, San Antonio, their largest ship, deserts. It turns around and flees back to Spain, taking with it a massive supply of food. When they finally cleared the strait and saw the endless ocean stretching before them, Magellan wept. A veteran sailor, a man who crushed a mutiny, punished deserters, who was harder than ice. He wept with joy. He named this ocean El Mar Pacifico, the peaceful sea, because after months of violent waters, it looked calm. He didn't know that 99 days on that calm sea, without food, without water, on the edge of death, still awaited him. Magellan had miscalculated the size of the Pacific Ocean. Everyone did back then. They all thought it was smaller, much smaller. But the Pacific Ocean covers 1/3 of the entire Earth, 63.8 million square kilometers. To put that in perspective, Europe, Asia and Africa combined, still smaller than the Pacific. 99 days, nearly 100 days of sailing with no land in sight. Food ran out, water ran out. The sailors ate leather parts of their equipment, belts, shoes, fabric from the sails. They boiled it for hours to soften it. They drank rainwater. They caught rats running across the ship and sold them to each other. Scurvy, the disease caused by the lack of vitamin C, was killing them slowly and painfully. Their gums would swell, their teeth would fall out, and then death. 2 sailors died during this crossing. Dozens were on the edge. March 6, 1521, the island of Guam. Palm trees, a green oasis. The sailors run toward the shore. They wept. They embraced each other. They had survived what had seemed impossible. The Philippines, March 1521. Magellan was nearly there. He was in familiar waters. This part of Asia he knew from earlier voyages. His slave Enrique, whom he had brought from Malaysia, could even speak with the local people here, which meant they had circled the earth. But Magellan made one fatal mistake. He got involved in a local conflict. Raja Humabon had a rival, a chieftain named Lapu-Lapu on the nearby island of Mactan, and Magellan decided to help Humabon, militarily, personally. April 27, 1521. Magellan leads 60 soldiers against 1,500 warriors of Lapu-Lapu. It was an unequal fight. Sailors are not soldiers. The warriors' weapons met them from all sides. Magellan was struck by an arrow in the leg, then in the neck. He fell into the shallow water. Later accounts say the warriors continued attacking even as he lay there, unable to defend himself. Fernando Magellan, the man who conceived the first voyage around the world, did not live to see it completed. He was around 41 years old. But the story doesn't end there, because 17 sailors and 1 ship still have to make it home. After Magellan's death, the expedition was in chaos. Of 270 men, fewer than 115 remained. Raja Humabon, disappointed by Magellan's defeat, had poisoned and killed 27 more officers at a banquet. The remaining ships? Trinidad and Victoria. Too few sailors for 2 ships. They burned the Concepcion. Split the crew between 2 ships. Command of the Victoria was taken by Juan Sebastian Elcano, a Basque sailor who had himself participated in the earlier mutiny and who now had to bring the remaining men home. Trinidad attempted to sail back across the Pacific. It failed. The crew was captured by the Portuguese. Only Victoria remained, 1 ship, 60 sailors, and Elcano. To reach Spain, they had to go around Africa, through waters controlled by Portugal, their greatest rival. Portuguese ships were hunting them everywhere. They had to be invisible. September 6, 1522, Victoria sails into the port of Spain. 1,083 days after departure. 18 survivors out of 270. Every one of those 18 men held a candle and walked barefoot to church to thank God they were alive. Elcano received a coat of arms bearing the inscription, Primus circumdedisti me, you were the first to sail around me. Before we finish, here are a few facts that will change the way you look at this expedition. Fact 1. Magellan was not the first person to circumnavigate the Earth. That was Enrique, his slave from Malaysia. When Enrique arrived in the Philippines and spoke with the locals in his native language, he had completed the circle around the Earth, before his master. Fact 2. The expedition lost an entire day. They sailed west, in the same direction the sun moves. When they arrived in Spain, they thought it was July 9th. It was July 10th. This phenomenon directly led to the creation of the international dateline. Fact 3. Spain immediately punished the survivors. Magellan's wife Beatriz was placed under house arrest, and his salary was withheld. Meanwhile, the sailors who returned with the San Antonio, the deserters, were freed from all charges. Fact 4. The cargo of spices paid for the entire expedition. The Victoria returned with a full load of cloves. The value of that cargo covered every single cost of the expedition and still turned a profit. 270 men, 5 ships, 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, only 18 survivors. But what they achieved wasn't just a record. It wasn't just geography. They proved the Earth was round, not with theory, but with sacrifice. They opened the doors to global trade as we know it today, and they showed that the line between possible and impossible is only a matter of how far you are willing to go. Which expedition do you consider the greatest in history? Leave a comment. I love reading your answers. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. Every week a new story about expeditions that changed the world.